Hello P5 children. I welcome you to the radio learning program produced by REB with support from UNICEF. This is Teacher Mary. I'm going to teach you social studies. So learners, are you ready for today's lesson? Okay. So in the previous lesson, we learned about climate and the elements of climate. Do you still remember what climate is? And you remember the elements of climate? Okay, well done. So now today, we are going to learn about weather. We are going to learn more about weather. So you can check on page 83 and 84 of the textbook of P5. Check on 83 and 84 of the Social Studies P5 textbook. Okay? We are going to first have this warm-up. Can you all stand up? Let me sing it, then we shall sing together the second time. Sweetly sings the donkey at the break of day. If you do not feed it, this is what it says. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. Okay, can we sing together? Sweetly sings the donkey at the break of day. If you do not feed it, this is what it says. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. Well done, children. Can you sit down? Okay, as I said earlier, we are going to learn about weather. But we need to know what is weather. Weather is the condition of a place recorded for a short period of time. Okay? The condition of a place for a short period of time. It can be sunny, rainy, it can also be windy, it can also be cloudy. So that is weather. Okay? So, we are now going to look at ways in which people protect themselves from bad weather. How can people protect themselves from bad weather? If it is too hot, or it is too cold, or it is too rainy. So, weather changes from time to time. And those changes affect people. Okay? We can protect ourselves from bad weather in different ways. So, in the sunny weather, how can you protect yourself? What have you been doing to protect yourself from too much sunshine? Or what do people do? Okay? Can you share with the person next to you? And also think of the other way around. If it is too rainy, what are you able to do to protect yourself? And also think of, if it is too cold, what are materials that you're able to use to protect yourself from too much coldness? And also think about windy. If it is too windy, what are the materials you are able to use? I want you to think about of all the weather conditions that I have mentioned. I'm giving you seconds to think about them and also share with the person next to you. Come along and play with us. Okay, well done. I'm now going to share with you the different ways people can be able to protect themselves from bad weather. Okay? So, if it is a sunny weather, we can protect ourselves from too much of sunshine by using umbrellas. You have seen people using umbrellas. We can also use sunglasses to protect ourselves from direct sun rays. We can use hats, or we can call them capes. We can also wear light or white clothes, because white clothes, they reflect heat. Okay? So what about the rainy weather? We can protect ourselves from rainy weather by using umbrellas. You can cover yourself with an umbrella so that it doesn't rain on you. You can use a raincoat, cover yourself, the whole body with a raincoat. You can also use gumboots. You can use gumboots. And I hope, children, you know all these materials. If you don't know them very well, you can ask your parents so that he tells you how a raincoat looks like and how a gumboot looks like. Okay? So another way of protecting ourselves from... Now let us look at the cold weather. So we can protect ourselves from the cold weather by wearing thick woolen clothes like sweaters or jackets so that it protects you. And also put on thick clothes to prevent body heat from escaping. And this keeps us warm in cold weather. Now let's look at the fourth weather condition, the windy weather. If at all it is so windy out there, we can protect ourselves from windy weather by planting trees in the compound. The trees in the compound block strong wind and save our houses and property from getting destroyed by strong winds. So if you have trees around your compound, when the strong wind comes, they will act as wind breakers. Come along and play with us. Welcome back. We were looking at how people can protect themselves from bad weather. So we are going to look at weather instruments. We are going to look at weather instruments. Do you know what weather instruments are? These are instruments used to measure different elements of the weather. The weather instruments are instruments used to measure different elements of weather. And these weather instruments are kept at a weather station. We don't keep weather instruments anywhere, at home or in any house. They are always kept at the weather station. And a weather station is a place where weather condition is observed, measured, and recorded. So if we have to know the weather condition, we shall have to go to the weather station. And there are people who always observe the weather condition there. They measure how the weather is and they make recordings. They get to know the weather of the place. Okay? So that is what is done at the weather station. So also, in order to record the different elements accurately, weather instruments are kept in Stevenson screen. So we need to understand now, what is Stevenson screen? That is a new word. Remember we said that is where weather instruments are kept. Okay? So note this. A Stevenson screen, it is a wooden box in which delicate weather instruments are kept at the weather station. Now this is a small box. It is always kept at the weather station, and they keep delicate weather instruments because there are some instruments which can easily get damaged. They don't have to be exposed in the sun or exposed outside. So they are kept in that box, which is called Stevenson's screen. So this box, it helps to protect the instruments from damage and also to obtain accurate shade temperature. So now let us look at the delicate instruments kept in Stevenson's screen. Okay? So we find a barometer. It is a delicate instrument. We find 6 thermometer and hygrometer. We find a barometer in Stevenson's screen, and we find 6 thermometer and hygrometer. Those are the particular instruments that are kept in Stevenson's screen. Okay, so the weather records are also kept in Stevenson's screen. Whenever people go and observe and record, how the weather conditions are, they keep all the records in that wooden box, so as they can keep referring to them and they get to know the changes of weather. So Stevenson's screen is painted white in order to reflect sun's heat. So whenever you find it all painted white, you will know the reason. It is to reflect the sun's heat. Okay? Now, we are now going to look at the instruments we can find at the weather station. We had mentioned 3 particular ones, which are the delicate ones, and we keep them in that wooden box. But there are other instruments we keep in the weather station, and we need to look at them in details, and we also know which kind of weather condition do they measure. So let me share with you. The instruments used to measure the weather are, number 1, the thermometer. Can you all say that? Thermometer. Okay. So the thermometer is an instrument used to measure temperature. And temperature is measured in degrees. Okay. So the 2 liquids commonly used in thermometers are alcohol and mercury. The 2 liquids commonly used in the thermometer are alcohol and mercury. So the types of thermometer, there are 3 types of thermometers. The uses of these thermometers are different. And we are going to look at the 3 types of thermometers. Okay? So number 1, clinical thermometers. Clinical thermometers are used to measure the temperature of the human body. Okay? So always know that the thermometer they use on our bodies, it is called clinical. It is clinical thermometer. They have a kink. And a kink, in another word, is like a curve. Okay? It's like a curve. We call it a kink. But other types of thermometers have no curve or constriction. We can call it a curve or constriction. Okay? So that is the clinical thermometer, which measures the temperature of the human body. So another thermometer is the wall thermometer. The wall thermometer are used to measure room temperature or the temperature of the air. Another third thermometer is the 6s, which we say 6, you put an apostrophe and S. 6s thermometer. And it is used to measure the highest or the lowest temperature of the day. And it is also called a minimum and maximum thermometer. Okay? Why do we call it a minimum and a maximum thermometer? Because minimum thermometer measures the lowest temperature of the day, while the maximum thermometer measures the highest temperature of the day. So you find this thermometer, the 6th thermometer, there are 2 thermometers which are joined together. So it is the minimum and the maximum. So when they will always show the lowest temperature of the day, and it will also show the maximum or the highest temperature of the day. So we are going to look at another instrument we find in the weather station, which is the wind vane. Wind vane. What does it measure? Probably you are going to say wind, but there's a particular thing it measures, okay? So this instrument is used to measure the direction of wind. A wind vane should be placed in an open area to avoid obstructing wind movement. So the pointer of a wind vane faces the direction the wind is blowing to. So whenever the wind vane points in a certain direction, that is when you get to know which direction is blowing to. Okay? Good. Let's look at another instrument. Windsock. It is almost like the second one. Windsock, it is the third instrument used to measure the direction and the strength of wind. The windsock is used to measure the direction and the strength of wind. Okay?
Come along and play with us.
Welcome back, children. We were looking at the weather instruments. We looked at the windsock, wind vane, and also thermometer. So we are going to look at anemometer. Okay? Let's look at the anemometer. So what is anemometer? It is an instrument used to measure the speed of the wind. The anemometer is used to measure the speed of the wind. The anemometer contains a cap on a rotating pole, and the rate at which the cap rotates will determine the speed of the wind. Okay? So when the caps rotate slowly, it means that the speed of wind is slow. And when the caps rotate faster, it means the speed of wind is high. So the caps are those things we find on the anemometer. They can be plastic or metallic. So whenever they are rotating, they are measuring the speed of wind. When those caps are rotating slowly, it shows the speed of the wind is low. And when the caps are rotating faster, it means the speed of wind is high. Okay? So that is number 4. So let us look at another weather instrument, which is number 5. Hygrometer. Can we all say that? Hygrometer. So what does it do? The hygrometer is used to measure humidity. Do you know what humidity is? So humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. So the hygrometer is used to measure the humidity. That is the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. Let us look at also the barometer, which is the 6th weather instrument. So the barometer is an instrument used to measure air pressure. The barometer is an instrument used to measure air pressure. So when the air pressure is low, the temperature increases. And when the air pressure is high, the temperature reduces. Okay? So a barometer is used to measure air pressure. Let us look at now the 7th weather instrument, which is the rain gauge. Rain gauge. You can guess what a rain gauge is used for. What is it used for? So the rain gauge, it measures the amount of rainfall received in an area. The rain gauge measures the amount of rainfall received in an area. The rain gauge should be put in an open area in order to collect the right amount of rainfall. It should be kept on a raised platform above the ground to prevent runoff water from entering it. And it contains a funnel and a measuring cylinder. Okay, let us look at the last weather instrument, which is the sunshine recorder. Sunshine recorder. I think you can also tell what this instrument is used for. Okay, the sunshine recorder records the amount of hours of sunshine in a day. It records the number of hours of sunshine in a day. And it also measures the sunshine intensity of sunshine. Okay, so we've looked at the weather instruments. And we have mentioned different weather instruments, including the thermometer, windsock, wind vane, barometer, hygrometer, the rain gauge, the sunshine recorder. So this brings me to the end of today's lesson. It has been your teacher, Mary. So thank you so much for paying attention. Bye-bye.